Live in Western Oregon, this is NBC 16 News at 6:30.
The injuries that he sustained were serious, and we're still waiting to hear some more information from the hospital.
One man is in the hospital and another in custody after a shooting at a Junction City mobile home park. Thanks for joining us on NBC 16 at 6:30. Filling in, I am Alexis Thrower. The shooting happened shortly after 10 a.m. this morning. Medics responded at Tivoli Mobile Home Park shortly after. The victim, a 35-year-old man, was transported to the hospital with a serious gunshot wound. Lane County Sheriff's Office say another man, also 35 years old, was on the scene.
The injuries that he sustained were serious, and we're still waiting to hear some more information from the hospital.
Carver says both men know each other, but how they know each other is still unknown. We will update you with more information as the investigation continues. Law enforcement says there's no further threat at this time. At least one person is killed in a stabbing attack in Texas. Police say it all started with an argument in a downtown Austin coffee shop. They say the suspect got into a fight and injured another customer there before fleeing as officers arrived. Police chased the suspect to a nearby restaurant where he stabbed two people, killing one. The suspect then fled to the roof of the building. Police say they took the suspect into custody after he was injured jumping off the roof. Investigators say they are still not sure what sparked the initial altercation or if the attacker knew any of the victims before the attack. A potentially major escalation today in the simmering conflict between the U.S. and Iran after a U.S. airstrike killed Iran's top military commander. The Trump administration says it had to act to prevent an imminent attack on Americans. The big question, how will Iran respond? NBC's Alice Barr is in Washington with the latest.
3,500 more American soldiers are heading to the Middle East, bringing the total increase to 4,000 this week alone, amid escalating tensions with Iran. Protests in the streets of Tehran after a U.S. drone strike last night killed Iran's top military commander, Qasem Soleimani, at the Baghdad airport in Iraq.
Soleimani made the death of innocent people his sick passion. We take comfort in knowing that his reign of terror is over.
President Trump says Soleimani has killed or badly wounded thousands of Americans and that he was plotting to kill many more in what U.S. intelligence called an imminent threat.
We took action last night to stop a war. We did not take action to start a war.
Democrats agree Soleimani was a serious threat, but they question how the strike was carried out without notifying or consulting Congress.
What we cannot accept is a march to an unauthorized war.
And whether it could further escalate the violence.
This is the equivalent of the Iranians assassinating the U.S. Secretary of Defense.
Iran's supreme leader has vowed forceful revenge.
If Americans anywhere are threatened, I am ready and prepared to take whatever action is necessary.
The mayor of New York saying the city is now on heightened terror alert. So are embassies throughout the Middle East. And the U.S. is urging all Americans to immediately leave Iraq, where earlier this week pro-Iranian demonstrators held violent protests at the U.S. Embassy compound. Alice Barr, NBC News, Washington.
Local experts here in Oregon are weighing in on the killing of Iranian commander Qasem Soleimani. Oregon State University historian Christopher Nichols says many scholars and foreign policy observers are shocked by the move. He says the commander was clearly committing wrongdoings, but very rarely does the U.S. target people this high up in government in nations like Iran, leaving unforeseen circumstances.
And so the intended goals of this, say preventing that attack in the short term, might be accurate. But the longer term ones, history suggests at least, tend to be not what the U.S. has intended or other nations have intended when they attack leaders and kill leaders of foreign nations.
Nichols suggests Israel is now more vulnerable than ever as it is situated near Iran. He says we could see attacks on embassies or American civilians being captured. Nichols points out it's unclear if this attack is part of a broadened strategy to bring Iran to the diplomatic table. On to a first look at weather. NBC 16 meteorologist Josh Cozart joins us now in the Weather Center. Josh, it was kind of nice today. Can we expect the same this weekend?
It was very nice today, Alexis. Even a few of us got a pocket of sunshine or two, and that allowed temperatures to warm up nicely, but that won't be the case into the weekend, unfortunately. But in Eugene, we did manage to top off at 61 degrees, which is a new record for today. Our old record was last set back in 1994 with a high temperature of 60 degrees. But our radar and satellite are already starting to show the moisture taking aim at the Pacific Northwest. Coastal spots will get in on the rain first before those of us into the valleys. But temperatures now starting to fall back into the low 50s for our current temperatures. And the National Weather Service is preparing for winter weather through the Cascades with a winter weather advisory where we could see 6 to 12 inches of snowfall by the end of the day on Saturday. And out towards the coast, strong winds continue, 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts are a possibility, all in part to the cold front that's making its way to our area. But I'll have the timeline of the rain and my full forecast in a few minutes.
Thank you so much, Josh. And coming up next on NBC 16 at 6:30, United Methodist is in talks about splitting the church. Details on what that entails and why it's even a conversation. And later in the show, the flu is upon us, what you can do to prevent it.
For a city that never sleeps, New York.
Watching NBC 16 News at 6:30.
A popular religious denomination could split this year over the issue of same-sex marriage. Today, a group representing the United Methodist Church proposed spinning off the church. They suggested the new denomination would be called Traditionalist Methodist. This comes amid decades of fighting over whether the denomination should lift its ban on same-sex marriage and LGBTQ clergy. The United Methodist General Conference is slated to gather in Minneapolis in May. That's when the church is expected to consider the proposal. The United Methodist Church has more than 13 million members worldwide and is the second largest Protestant denomination in the U.S. House Bill 2393 is now passed, closing a loophole to the 2015 revenge porn law that was signed by Governor Brown. According to the new state law, a person can be sued if they spread nude photos or videos of someone with the intent to harass, humiliate, advertise, or publish. This reaffirms the state's stance that it's a crime to release intimate photos or videos of a person without their consent.
The legislature is closing up a bunch of loopholes. So this is yet another loophole that's being closed. The 2015 law pretty much was just identifiable images on the web. You had to prove that it was you. It was really weird. So they've closed that loophole. So now it's any distribution, not just the web.
Authorities say to avoid being the victim of revenge porn, never send intimate photos of yourself to anyone. A group of Delta Airline employees say uniforms provided by Lanes Inn made them sick, and they're taking the company to court. The lawsuit by more than 500 Delta employees claims the uniforms, quote, pose ongoing unreasonable risk of physical harm. The suit cited, quote, allergic and sensitization response to the uniforms, which are worn by flight attendants and some ground workers. The uniforms came out in 2016, and employees have been required to wear them since May of 2018. Delta said it tested the uniforms and believes all the mandatory components of the uniform are safe. The suit claims employee tests found unacceptably high levels of chemicals and heavy metals, including formaldehyde and mercury. Lanes Inn did not respond yesterday to a request for comment. On to Coos Bay now, where drivers will see new speed limit signs in the Empire District. NBC 16's Amanda Slee reports.
I think it's necessary these days. There's too many cars on the road, too many people on the road, too many people on the sidewalks. It's time.
The lower speed limit starts between Main and Cannon Street and goes just past the curve onto Empire Boulevard.
It's good, but unfortunately signs ain't going to do much. You need cameras that are actually going to catch the cars, catch their license plates, and bill them that way.
Although some do agree with the speed limit change, others say it's too short and confusing going from 30 to 20 back to 30.
If you're going to do it all the way through Empire until you get up by the Y. Then let people get it, go back to the 35 where it changes to on Ocean Boulevard and on Newmark.
Some who oppose the change say it feels like a speed trap.
It didn't seem that we were having like a higher number of accidents or anything that would warrant a change to lower the speed.
Whether you're for it or against it, make sure you slow down to the new posted limit. Reporting in Coos County, I'm Amanda Slee.
Coos Bay Police Department hopes to educate people on the change before writing citations, but it is up to each officer's discretion. Turning to weather now, NBC 16 meteorologist Josh Cozart is standing by for a look at what's coming up in your full forecast. Hey, Josh.
Hey, Alexis. We have rain, cooler temperatures, snow in the higher elevations, and wind out towards the coast. A mixed bag, a little bit of everything for everyone. As we take a live look over Roseburg, more details on when we should start to see those rain showers fall overhead, and my full forecast after the break.
Skycam 16 gives you a real-time look at today's weather. 16 News at 6:30.
Thanks to law enforcement and health agencies, there are new sharps disposal sites on the South Coast. NBC 16's Lauren Negretti reports.
Well, I need the shots to grow.
Landon Molinax is 8. His brother Nathan, 14. Both take growth hormones. Their mother Claire says they each fill up a Sharps container every month. The containers cost $25 in disposal and replacement fees.
We have like 4 months worth of Sharps containers just piled up because we haven't been able to afford that extra expense.
Coos Bay officials say proper syringe disposal and a safer community begins by opening this box.
The cost of the boxes and the disposal process is covered by HIV Alliance and Advanced Health. There are boxes at the North Bend Fire Department and Coos Bay Stations 1 and 2.
I think it's going to be a mix of people. People out walking through the woods that may find syringes that have been discarded improperly. I've seen that on Facebook a lot. And then primarily diabetics and other people that use injectable medications. They would be able to have a disposal site.
Adkin's mother had diabetes. He grew up with her makeshift coffee canister Sharps containers. At the Coos Bay Police Department, they get a call about needles found at public parks and parking lots a couple times a week.
But a lot of times the ones that we're finding on the streets are used in illicit purposes like drugs.
He says the most important thing is keeping the discarded needles away from curious kids. For Claire Molinax and her sons, the program brings a peace of mind.
And just knowing now that we'll have a place to dispose of them safely, properly, and without a fee, a burden lifted off our shoulders.
Reporting in Coos County, I'm Lauren Negretti.
Many rang in the new year with the flu. According to the latest data from the CDC, 37 states are now reporting high flu activity. That is an increase from 28 states last week. Over 6 million people have come down with the flu so far this season, and 55,000 had to be hospitalized. There have been nearly 3,000 deaths, and 27 of those were children. There is still time to get your flu shot, but just remember it takes about 2 weeks for immunity to develop. Now that we know the numbers of flu activity, what can you do to prevent it? In today's Health Minute, Mandy Gaither with tips to keep you healthy.
It can last as late as May, and the flu season is already wreaking havoc on the health of millions. The first line of defense is well known, washing hands. But beyond that, Atlanta's Northside Hospital says 5 things can help keep the flu away. First, get plenty of Z's. Having healthy sleep patterns helps your immune system stay strong. Soothe stress, easier said than done, but experts say it's crucial to your health. Stress makes bodies more susceptible to illnesses like the flu. Get more from your food. Healthy eating helps boost your immune system. Soak up some sunshine. Colder temperatures keep most of us indoors, but you could be missing out on vital vitamin D. It helps decrease inflammation and helps the body's natural defenses. Finally, keep up the pace. Exercise is essential for immune health. 20 to 30 minutes several times a week can do wonders for your health. For today's Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
And now weather with meteorologist Josh Cozart.
Well, it was dry yesterday, dry today, and tonight not so much the same, but still dry conditions as we take a live look over the downtown Eugene area on this Friday evening. Everyone preparing for their weekend and up towards the higher elevations of the Cascades. Well, the snow is still on the sides of the road. Roadways themselves on the dry side for now, as snow continues to take aim at a good portion of those higher elevated locations. And our radar and satellite starting to close in already with those rain chances over the Pacific Ocean as a cold front approaches our area, the rest of us through the valleys socked in with thick cloud coverage overhead. Not so much the case as we saw earlier in the day with that sunshine, allowing our temperatures to warm up into the low 60s for many locations. But above average precipitation is expected at least for the next 6 to 10 days. Thus, the National Weather Service predicts, but below average down towards the Los Angeles area, a good swath of the country getting in on some soaking rains, all thanks to a parade of systems that is currently taking aim at our neck of the woods. But for tonight, we are going to hold tight to those rain chances. Temperatures flirting with 40 degrees as that rain really approaches our area, all due to this cold front swinging through. That's going to increase the rain tonight, snow in the higher elevations, and we did see drier air that's now shifting its way into the center sections of the country, but abundant moisture still funnels its way into our area. And once storm system number 1 moves through, storm system number 2 takes aim at us, and that's going to continue those rain chances into your Sunday. Once it swings through, then we have a little bit of a lull on our Monday, and then into Tuesday and Wednesday, our next weather maker yet again moves through, not really impacting our temperatures, but we will fall back into the mid-40s come tomorrow. Here's our future cast, though. The yellows, the oranges are going to depict slightly heavier rainfall amounts as this cold front moves through our area. Coastal spots getting in on it first, then the I-5 corridor will also get in on those heavy downpours. The snow machine gets going through the Cascades just after midnight, and for the rest of us in the valleys and the coast, we will hold tight onto those rain chances. Drying out, however, though, for our Saturday, pockets of sunshine, a possible likelihood, but once we roll into our Sunday, the clouds increase, more rain moves back into our area with that occluded front, storm system number 2 that moves through, and then a few flurries through the Cascades. Hold tight into the evening hours on our Sunday. Here's how the numbers shake out for our rain gauge and the accumulation of rainfall. Just slightly above a half an inch of rain expected. Greater amounts will be along coastal areas over the next 48 hours. Daytime highs tomorrow, though, going to be much cooler than what we experienced today, only managing to make it up into the mid to upper 40s for many locations, and we hold tight onto the 40s at least for the next 7 days. Overnight lows, not too bad. We've seen worse back in November and December, but 40s and 30s are expected, which is right around average for this time of year. Out towards the coast, slightly drier conditions as we move into our Saturday afternoon, and those rain chances return and stick with us most of the day on Sunday, but really the on-again, off-again rain chances stay persistent for the next 7 days, anywhere from the valleys all the way out towards the coast, including the Umpqua Valley, as we near 48 degrees for our daytime high on Saturday. And then really the rain stays kind of persistent. Welcome to the Pacific Northwest in January.
I know. Well, thank you so much, Josh.
You're welcome.
As the temperatures drop, the concern over healthy and quality air are growing. The time between November to February is usually when Lane Regional Air Protection Agency sees the worst air stagnation. Lane County has already seen periods of poor air quality in October. Executive Director Merlin Huff says those early incidents signal more bad days to come.
If you don't have that sun angle heating up the ground surface, that can contribute more to air stagnation. Also, cooler weather is going to mean more home heating demand. And if you're using wood to meet that demand, then that means more wood burning.
To prevent this, Huff urges homeowners to cut down on wood burning and to check LaRapa's website for updates. You can get daily updates on their website at larapa.org. Coming up next on NBC 16 at 6:30, an alarming recognition from the Eugene Mission as a rise in homelessness has occurred from people of the middle and retirement age. What may be the reason behind such a trend?
Great riches. 16 News at 6:30.
Staff at the Eugene Mission are saying they are concerned about an increase in middle and retirement age people dealing with homelessness. NBC 16's Alex Hossenstop spoke with mission staff about what might be causing the issue.
A sea of gray hair and beards at the Eugene Mission highlights an issue that Maria Cortez says has been increasing over the past few years.
Last year, of the approximately 2,000 guests that we had here, 35%, or just over 700, were over the age of 50.
49-year-old Corbett Lantis will soon be a part of that demographic. He tells us he was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma at age 18 and has dealt with houselessness on and off again since. And aging hasn't helped the situation.
As I'm aging, I'm suffering what they call the late effects. So it's been very difficult for me to maintain full-time employment. It's been a struggle.
Lantis says he's currently working on getting disability benefits, but full Social Security benefits don't start until age 66 or 67.
And I'm a ways off.
Cortez says this isn't a problem unique to Eugene.
I think that there nationally have been a lot of concerns around our aging baby boomer generation and the need for more services.
She says many of the mission's guests receive some sort of benefits she estimates range from around $500 to $900 a month. And she says other factors like lack of address and health issues can be barriers to housing.
What's possible in terms of housing is typically either low-income housing or affordable housing, which many of us know that the lists are very long.
Lantis believes the key issue is housing, but he's found Eugene has led the way in homeless services.
There's a lot of new construction and housing projects towards downtown. They're going to pack them full.
For the unhoused, retirement looks quite different. I'm Alex Hossenstaub reporting.
As we look ahead to the new year, the City of Eugene will be looking back at 2019 in the annual State of the City next week. The address will be held at the Holt Center on January 8th. The main event will be Mayor Venice's speech on the ups and downs of the year. Homelessness, affordable housing, and economic development are expected to be the key takeaways.
We're looking back at what we've accomplished over the last year and what we're looking ahead at, and these are some ongoing challenges and some ongoing progress that we're going to be making in these areas, so that's going to be important to talk about.
Online too. The event will start Wednesday night at 5:30 p.m. Springfield's State of the City address will be on January 13th. Coming up next on NBC 16 at 6:30, butter has a way of making everything better, including the sculptures of some Pennsylvania mascots.
You've eaten everything. Now you want
Sculptures of Philadelphia Flyers mascot Gritty, Philadelphia Eagles mascot Swoop, and Pittsburgh Steelers mascot Steely McBean. They are part of the butter sculpture exhibit, and they're all going to turn into renewable energy after it's all done.
Ooh, looks good enough to eat.
We'll see you at 11.